Hi all, my name is Nathaniel Zikov, and today I'll be telling you the things you should consider before writing the first draft of your book. Just remember, this is all based off my opinion and experience, and some things may not work for you, others will, so pick and choose what will work best for you. Now for some writing tips. Number 1. Get an idea. It doesn't need to be some elaborate, fully formed, complex plot idea. It can be as simple as a what if statement. What if someone managed to build a time machine and travel to the far future and see the sun get destroyed? What if dinosaurs didn't go extinct and now rule over humans? Simple things like that. Something that helps me personally is having a notebook beside me and just write a whole bunch of ideas down, and then whatever comes of it, comes with it. Just make sure to try not to copy exact plot ideas from books, TV series, and movies. Besides the obvious point of having copyright issues, it is far more satisfying to write something original. You can also argue that all stories have been done before, but there is a difference between using popular tropes and ripping someone's ideas off them. Now, for number 2. Who is the main character or characters, and what is he or she trying to accomplish? It's always a good idea to think of who the characters are and what their goal is and what stands in the way of them accomplishing that goal. Whether it's their family's financial, political position, an evil wizard, what have you. The possibilities are endless. If it helps, you can try to write them down in a notebook as a web. Start with the characters and branch out from there. You can give them names if you have ideas, but not necessary, or whatever their likes and dislikes are. Some writers can't write anything without having named the characters and given them some details. Others fill in these details later. It's up to you. At this point, you should have a rough idea of what the plot is and how many books it would take to accomplish that plot. Just don't try to stretch it over too many books, otherwise the plot will seem watered down and not as enjoyable. Keep it concise and keep it fairly simple. Tip number 3. What message do you want the readers to get out of reading your story? It will help your novel to stand out among thousands out there if it has a good theme to it, or a good moral. It also helps the readers to connect to your characters and empathize with them. Sometimes the themes pop out of nowhere when you write the first draft, but sometimes you need to put in a little bit of extra effort. It helps to incorporate the themes or themes of your novel within subplots of your book if you're having trouble to have a overarching theme throughout the entire novel. Regardless, it's always better to outline your entire novel, including themes, before you begin. Tip number 4. Think of the setting. Again, you can write the ideas down or you can just have them floating around in your head. But the main question you have to ask yourself is, what is the world that your characters live in? What era is it? Really, the sky is your limit, so get creative. Your characters can live in a castle or floating around on a ship in a post-apocalyptic scenario where the land is no longer habitable. Just make sure the world you create has good structure and isn't prone to too many plot holes. I will do another separate video on world settings. You should check that out in hopefully near future. Tip number 5. The plot. That's the main part of your story. You have all the other components by now. Now you need to organize the ideas into a linear plot. You can think of it in your head or write it down, or use an outline, or whatever works for you. I'll do another video on plotting in the near future as well, hopefully. Now you're ready to move on to step number 6. Tip number 6. Argue the most important aspect of pre-writing a novel, the outline. I'll make a full-size video on how to write your outline, but here are some basic tips. You don't necessarily need an outline, but it helps a lot. Outlines range in details from hardly having anything to pretty much having the entire novel written out. It all depends on your personal writing style. I like to use a very basic outline of the key events that happen and use it as a sort of a guideline rather than a concrete rule. It all depends on your personal preference. Experiment with a few different outlines and find out the one that works best for you. An outline helps to incorporate subplots into the overall story. And as a side note, if you're writing a series, You don't have to outline the entire series of books. Just outline one book at a time and keep the other ones in the back of your mind. Tip number 7. Music. This step is completely optional and varies from person to person. A lot of writers find it inspiring to listen to music, and ideas naturally flow when there is some music in the background. You can create a playlist for different parts of your novel. For example, fast upbeat music for fight scenes, or slow dramatic music for drama, and so on. Or you can just listen to your favorite playlist for everything. Up to you. Tip number 8. The most boring part of writing. Research. Do all appropriate research. Research everything you don't know off the top of your head. Research everything you do know off the top of your head, just to make sure you're not wrong. The best thing to do is ask your friends who are experts on the topic that you're trying to write. You don't necessarily need a science degree to write science fiction, or a history degree to write historical fiction. As a side note, don't go out of your way to get a degree in science to write science fiction, for example. It's just a waste of time, money, and effort. Friends are always your best bet. Other than that, Google is your ally. Just make sure you don't do research just from one source, otherwise you might run into some trouble later on, in the form of negative reviews of your book. Tip number 9. Choose a title. It doesn't have to be the title that it will be eventually on the cover. It can be a work in progress title that you eventually change to something that works better as it suddenly comes up. But it always helps to have something that you can refer to your book, whether it be for friends, beta readers, or what have you. Just something you can name it. Tip number 10. When are you going to write? That's the most important part of writing is, actually writing. Plan the time that you're going to spend writing. Staying consistent with the time that you write will help you with productivity. If you're really busy, even half an hour a day will help. Just prioritize that particular time slot for writing. A lot of writers write in their spare time, after work or after school. Don't get discouraged that you can't spend your whole day writing. As long as you work hard, anything is possible. That's all for today. These are my ideas of what to do during the pre-writing phase of writing your novel. Remember, this is just based on my opinion and experience and research. Some of these tips may not work for you. Others will. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and watch more videos like this on my channel. Have a good day and see you next time.